What were your first impressions of each other?
In podcasts, like you can build up the context and then hit them with a punchline or whatever, whereas TV is the opposite. You got to start with a punchline.
Yeah.
But I was in the toilet having a spew. As I come out of the cubicle, the Wallabies coach, the Australian national coach, came, saw me wiping the spew off my face, and he's like, "Oh, are you interested in coming back and playing for Australia?"
There were headlines from current coaches at the time, like assistant coaches saying that we shouldn't come back. When people were talking about crypto, I was talking about stupid money. And people have got very rich off it because they backed it early. But you've got to do your homework, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an exciting space. You hear the stories of people who got on the Bitcoin earlier. In terms of where it started to where it is now, like it's unbelievable.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Hey there, welcome back to the Ledger podcast. I'm Mo, it's Ledger Op3n, and I'm coming to you directly from 106 Temple for another exciting episode, because today we are crossing worlds. From protecting your keys to protecting the try line, we're talking about value, risk, and rewriting the rules. In 2011, one of our guests made a choice that kind of changed rugby forever. He left the system, bet on himself, and alongside his teammate, our other guest today, they conquered Europe. 3 straight championships later, the rules back home had to change. That spirit, taking control, breaking conventions, proving value on your own terms, is what Ledger's all about. 2 Wallaby legends, 174 caps between them, co-hosts of Kickoffs and Kick-Ons, and now part of the Ledger family as our new Australian ambassadors. Today we welcome Giteau and Drew Mitchell. Enjoy the conversation.
Well, Drew, Matt, welcome to 106 Temple. Welcome to Ledger Op3n, the Ledger Studio.
Yeah.
You guys are pro podcasters, so this shouldn't be foreign territory for you.
Well, we'll just sort of see where the conversation goes, what we're chatting about.
I mean,
no, it's good to be here. Thanks for having us. And, it's only a couple of days in on our trip, but always enjoy coming back to Paris.
That's great. I mean, we'd love to have you here. We were just talking about how yesterday was such an awesome day and, just having everyone here in the building and, just being able to experience this with you guys is so, heartwarming, I would say. How's your trip been so far? What's your experience been like in the past, 24 hours?
It's been good. We've obviously got history. We both played in France for a number of years, so it's always nice to come back to France any opportunity we get, especially to be involved here in Ledger, seeing the building, your basketball court, you've got a weights room, a podcast studio, like just seeing it all, the barista upstairs, like it's been amazing.
So tell us about your podcast. I'm curious a little bit more because you guys were pro athletes. Obviously, you guys are rugby legends, I would say, in Australia. I'm gonna put the cards on the table. Yeah. I don't know much about rugby.
That's okay.
I know a lot about sports. I can hold the fort with crypto. Yeah. With rugby, you guys will teach me a little bit. I can assure you that I did my homework though. So I know a little bit where we're heading with that. But if you guys can guide me, I would very much appreciate it.
No, easy. We'll hold your hand through it.
Perfect.
Effectively, it's a rugby podcast. Myself, Giteau, Adam Ashley Cooper, another former teammate of ours, who also played here in France for a little while at Bordeaux. And we also have a host, James Rochford. So, selfishly, it probably started out as an opportunity now that we're all retired to make sure that we had scheduled time in our calendars every week to hang out with your mates. So we come together on sort of a Monday afternoon and we catch up, we have a couple of beers, we talk about rugby, and it's probably not the most serious, analytical, statistic kind of heavy podcast. It's more just the stories, the banter, the mateship. Sure, we give our opinions on things, but we like to keep it pretty lighthearted, and we can do the light and shade, have a bit of fun, but also kind of, go into some topics that you need to discuss a bit more thoroughly. But mate, I think honestly, selfishly, it's just a way to hang out with your mates every week. Yeah.
Whose idea was it?
I don't know.
I'm going to take the credit.
You're going to take credit for it?
Credit. No, yeah. I did a podcast in Japan.
Yeah.
Japan? Because I was living in Japan, played there for 3 years after France. So we got asked to interview, because there are a lot of foreign players that go over to Japan. So we're interviewing those foreign players, just talking about rugby, life and whatever else. Afterwards, I remember sending a message to Drew. I was like, this podcast stuff's fun.
It is
So
fun,
I think we'd enjoy sitting down, just talking rubbish, just talking about anything. And then Drew came up with the idea of, we put the team together, obviously getting a host, the production team and whatever else, because he knew that space better than I did. And then the whole concept was just basically we're at a pub and people are listening, and we just talk how we'd normally talk, having a few beers.
It is filmed in an actual pub?
No, it's not. But the concept being that it's almost like someone's a fly on the wall listening to how we would talk at a pub. And also, I think, trying to show a different side with the players.
Yeah.
So we interview current players, but we don't really ask about how are you going to go this weekend or what are you looking forward to. We more just dive into them as characters so that, I suppose, the public get to know them a little bit more. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
That's what's beautiful about podcasts, It's like this decentralization of, like, you remember back in the day you'd go on a news, like, kind of TV station. It would be like super, there would be this thing where it would be almost unnatural, like the way people are talking, right?
Yeah, I mean, I did 6 years of commentary on rugby, and often you'd have like a really small window in the run sheet to say something. Exactly. And you often have to have a pretty strong, firm opinion, but you don't have the time to provide the context as to how and why you got to that opinion. Whereas the longer format stuff in podcasts, like you can build up the context and then hit them with a punchline or whatever. Whereas TV is the opposite. You got to start with a punchline. Yeah. And often then you don't get the time to provide the context. So that's where it's like, people get upset sometimes with what people say on TV because they only hear that, but not necessarily how you got to that opinion.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Especially if you're talking about complex topics.
Yeah.
You can bullshit your way, into a conversation or out of a conversation if it's 2 minutes long. But trust me, you can't do that if it's 2 hours long. It's impossible. Exactly. You're gonna have to get it into the depth of it.
Well, I also like that you can talk whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like if we wanted to, we could do our next episode and not mention rugby at all.
Yeah.
Even though it's a rugby show. Because we decide the topic, whereas with TV, it's almost like you've got a set agenda that you've got to talk. And I agree where you were talking about, you feel like you've got to talk a certain way. It's not really authentic. It's not you. You feel like you've got to talk like
no one
other
talks
presenter.
like this. Yeah. I don't know how they came up with it because like no one on the street, do you ever go like buy a baguette on the street and have someone talking to you like that?
Yeah.
It's so weird. But yeah, like that's so interesting, the whole podcast thing. But how did you two meet?
My first Wallaby tour is in 2004. I'd say it was probably then.
Well,
you were already in the squad.
I had presented, we were talking about this just a few days ago. I presented Drew Rookie of the Year in Super Rugby.
Okay.
So Super Rugby is almost like the top 14 here, which is a rugby competition.
Yeah, that I know. Listen.
Just double checking. So, I won it the year before, and then as the previous winner, you then award it to the next person, and Drew won it that year. So that was the first time that I actually properly met him.
And then later that year, we were on a Wallabies tour to the UK, and Matt was already in the squad at that point, so it's sort of, I was the new guy, and, you gravitate to the ones you got the most in common with. And back in those days as well, like our squads were quite old.
Yeah.
Like the players were always a bit more on the experienced senior sort of side. So Matt being the youngest there prior to me getting there, we sort of started to gravitate towards. But then, and then a couple of years later, 3 years later or something, we both moved to the Western Force, played over there in Perth together, and then Toulon we played together. Like, we've spent a lot of time together.
Great. What were your first impressions of each other?
No, I would like to say something mean, but that's not true. No, I think for me, my first impression, obviously, Drew's a fun guy. Like, he likes to have fun. Things aren't too serious. So I enjoy that because, especially when rugby's concerned, early on, like I was very focused and probably a bit too serious. So I needed that distraction or that silliness kind of to balance it out. But I mean, and then over time, obviously getting to know him, he's incredibly generous. He's great. He's a godfather for my two boys.
That's sweet.
He was our best man at the wedding. So, I mean, we got a long history.
Oh, you guys are pretty close.
Yeah.
What about you?
I haven't had a wedding. I don't have kids, so I haven't been able to return the favour. But yeah, I mean, it was, you know, Matt, I think back in those days, whilst he was hyper-focused, he was also pretty outgoing. He used to have some pretty interesting haircuts and highlights in his hair and all of that. But he had like just a confidence about him that was really cool. And then, I don't know, maybe part of what Matt was just saying about me, I probably lent in and tapped into Matt's more serious side and his preparation and that sort of thing as well, because I needed maybe a little bit more of that balance, but the other way. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like, you know, Matt's spoken about, we got a really strong relationship. You know, even when I was looking at coming over here to France, I had a better offer at a different club. But I just liked the idea of, you know, coming to a new culture, a new language, new country, but to have that familiarity with, you know, a really close friend, and also I've got a good relationship with his wife. And
actually, strangely, too good. I'd go away in games and I'd ring up and Drew would be there, bathing the kids with my wife. Then they'd have an Aperol spritz together when I ring. But
yeah, it's amazing.
But he's a good mate that I trust him too.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, you should. You guys have a pretty long story. Yeah. So let's talk a bit about France. Who you came first, you know, to Toulon, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. There's a whole story around this. You kind of broke a couple of rules there, didn't you?
Well, when I was at Toulon, there was a rule that was brought in back in Australia. But when I first went to France, I was looking for a different cultural shock, a new experience, because in Australia, the way it works, you play your Super Rugby, then you play tests for your country, then you go on a tour at the end of the year, then you have your holiday, and then you rinse and repeat. It's the same cycle. And I've been doing it for 10 years, so I was after a change. I had a mate from where I grew up that was already at Toulon, so he helped me get there. And I was kind of really lucky to fall into such a good team, you know, that was led by Johnny Wilkinson, who obviously we've got a lot of respect for. And yeah, I just really loved my time there, to the point where it may have been, it was 2013, I think, and I just had a few drinks the night before in Wales. I was supporting, watching the Wallaby team. And the next day, the Wallabies were flying to France. And I was also then flying back from Wales to France. So I was on the same flight as them. But I was in the toilet having a spew, because I'd had too much to drink and I wasn't feeling the best. As I come out of the cubicle, the Wallabies coach, the Australian national coach, came out and saw me wiping the spew off my face. And he's like, "Oh, mate, how are you? Are you interested in coming back and playing for Australia?"
By pure coincidence, you weren't with them, and you didn't know they were going to be there in that terminal, whatever.
I didn't want to see him.
Yeah,
the way I was feeling, I didn't want to see anyone.
Oh wow!
So, but I saw him, and then he said, "You'd have to come back and play in Australia." I said, "Look, I don't want to do that. My family's really settled and happy. My two boys were born in France. Like, we got a real strong affiliation with it, and I didn't want to go back to Australia and play in that routine that I was talking about." So he said, "Okay, we'll leave it with me." And he went back to the board and said, proposed that if you have 60 caps, so 60 games for your country, which effectively is like 8 years that you've given time to your country, that you then have the ability to go overseas and still get picked for the Wallabies. And that rule got passed, and then myself and Drew were able to come back and play in the World Cup.
It's called the Giteau law.
Yeah, right? Well, it is called the Giteau law, but Drew thinks it should be the Mitchell law because the caps are 60 caps. At that time, I was on 92 caps, and Drew was bang on 60. So it makes sense that the rule was actually for him.
Yeah, I mean, if it was the Giteau law, it would have been 90 caps, right?
Yeah.
So
that's pretty badass. It's a pretty badass story, though, when you think about it.
Yeah, I think, like the longer... Like when it actually happened, you know, like the name was a bit embarrassing for me. Like,
I can imagine. Yeah, like a lot of attention.
Well, no, it just felt like it wasn't so much in my mind. It wasn't a law that was brought in for me. It was just a law that would allow players to do that. Sure. And we were the first ones to go back. So I don't know. It was a bit embarrassing at the time.
I can imagine. A lot of press coverage.
Yeah, there was a bit. There was a fair bit, and also when you're going back into a new environment, you don't know these players.
Yeah.
and you've got all the headlines and stuff written about us coming back.
Yeah.
We'd not played Test rugby in a long time, so we didn't know that we could even still play at that level.
And this time you're coming in as a senior rather than a rookie.
Right. Yeah.
Or you guys, that's when you guys started with the Wallabies, right? It's a different position.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a lot of things we had to consider, because it was also there were headlines from current coaches at the time, assistant coaches saying that we shouldn't come back. And so we didn't know really what the reception was going to be like when we came back. And, as far as do we go back and sit in our spots on the bus? Because you kind of have your own seat, when you're playing and you're part of it. I was like, whoever's in our seat now, they've got to go find a new
now
one.
you're seniors.
Yeah, I was like,
but
now you guys are the seniors of the team.
Yeah. That's where I needed Drew.
He wouldn't get on the bus first because he wouldn't want to go and tell someone to get out of his seat. Whereas I walk back and go, "See you, kid." My seat. I'm back here. And then but those guys now will probably be the ones telling someone else to get out of your seat.
Well, you got to earn the right. Spend a lot of time. You got to earn the right to do it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite memory of France?
It's hard. From a sporting point of view or life?
When I say memory, what comes up to mind? When I say Toulon, when I say France, what's the first memory that pops?
Well, I think Toulon would be more the trophies and titles we won, but more the reception we got.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You were living there, right?
Yeah,
you lived in Toulon. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
when we won the double, the top 14 and the Champions Cup, we came back via sort of into the port on a boat, and there was just hundreds of thousands of people, on every balcony, every rooftop. You couldn't see any of the pavement because there was just people everywhere. And sort of we're coming in with the 2 trophies and all the chanting, and then they sort of split the sea a little bit, and we kind of walk through, and then we go up to sort of an elevated sort of balcony position, and for as far as the eye can see, it was just red and black. It was.
That's wild.
Yeah, and then we get in the back of a truck and we kind of go around into the town square, and then there's a big sort of reception, and just to make, you could see how much it meant to the people of Toulon. It's a working class city.
Yeah.
They spend any money that they have to go to the games and support the team and wear the colours. And
was it the first time they won a championship in a while, or?
No, because we'd won it the year before.
Yeah, but that maybe, for the Brenner side.
It's the first one we won, the Bouclier, in a long time.
That was the first one for a long time. So, you could just sort of see in how much it felt, how much it meant to them, and how they felt about it. And I know those are sort of memories, I think, that those experiences, the memories, but also bring back an emotional kind of reaction.
I can imagine, being connected to so many different people and feeling that you've accomplish something for them. It must be such a fulfilling type of feeling.
Even now, we post something on our socials, and the amount of messages we get from people from Toulon still saying thank you, or they're just a really appreciative community of people, and they appreciate what we did, but we also, as much, I think, would say that we appreciate the experiences that they gave us as well. So it's very unique. I think it's unlike anything I've experienced in my rugby career, in terms of how much the supporters get around you.
And on the personal side, for me, as soon as you say memories, obviously my 2 boys were born, one was born in Marseille, the other one was born at Toulon.
So they're French?
They are French, but my eldest wouldn't speak French, so the gardener would say, Levi, ça va? He'd go, and he didn't want to hear French for whatever reason.
Oh, wow.
He's now 13 and he wants to learn French.
Okay.
No. You could be fluent by now but you can't force kids. But as far as memories go, obviously the kids being born there, but more when Drew would come over, so Drew would he'd come over 5 of the 7 nights. My wife would cook for him. He is part of the family. But it's more just sitting out there on the balcony, overlooking the ocean, the beautiful weather at Toulon, having some rosé, just the balance that we had. I just reckon, the lifestyle, the French, they know how to live.
Joie de vivre.
Yes, exactly right. And it's, that's probably, they'd be the 2 memories. You obviously got your rugby one, which is very strong, but the lifestyle and just how much we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because you guys are now back in Australia.
Yep.
Yeah,
back in Australia now.
And the World Cup's coming soon.
It is.
Yeah, we've just finished the Lions series, which was a massive event in terms of all the supporters that came down. And
what is it? Tell me more about it.
So the British and Irish Lions is a composite team made up out of English, Irish, Scottish and Welsh rugby players. So the best of those 4 home unions come together and they play a 3 test match series against Australia, but they also play, I think, 6 other games around it. So they only tour Australia once every 12 years, so it's like it's a big thing. But it kind of that's basically getting us set up for what's going to be even bigger, which is the World Cup in 2027, the Men's World Cup. We also then have the Women's in 2029 as well. So we got some really big rugby events and tournaments on our doorstep. In having just passed one, but also in the next few years as well. But I mean, the magnitude of that, like all the different countries, all the different supporters, and playing games all across the country. It's something that, well, to be fair, it's probably also something that we need for the game of rugby in Australia. It's really competitive in terms of the sports that we play and having a small population comparatively to other countries around the world. So, it's, to have the biggest event, the third biggest sporting event in the world on our doorstep is huge.
That'd be big.
Yeah.
And how do you guys feel about, the Wallabies' chances at, winning it?
We will win.
Yeah.
We'll beat France in the final.
Okay.
In a close one.
Oh, really? I was about to say 40-0.
By 30 points.
No, I think we're growing. It's a young team, and they are improving. Under a new coach, Joe Schmidt, who's going to be moving on. But these younger players, you can see them now playing with confidence. And when a young team is confident, I think that's better than even an experienced team that, with experienced players, I think those teams, you generally will always get a consistent maybe 7 out of 10. Whereas with young guys, you get that inconsistency. You might get a 10 out of 10 and a 3, then back to a 10. Whereas I think they're now starting to find that consistency. So I'm excited about our chances.
And I think also like the fact that they have this support around them and like kind of the overall, kind of responsibility in some way. Sometimes pressure can be also a very positive factor if you don't let it overwhelm you, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's about how you deal with it. And,
how do you deal?
And as an individual, but also collectively as a team, how you deal with that pressure as well. And I think Joe's been great for them around that, instilling a bit of confidence in them again, and confidence based on performances rather than just because, your coach is saying that you're good. But yeah, I mean, it's exciting times. And I think if you look at the rugby landscape across the world, like it's a really competitive sort of, period and era that we're in, because South Africa have won the last couple of World Cups, but, as we've seen, France are really, really good. Ireland, New Zealand's very capable. I think it's more than ever, at least since I've experienced rugby, it's the most open.
That's better for the supporters.
Yeah.
Everyone gets to enjoy it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw that in 2023 with the World Cup here. Like, there's some big upsets. Like Ireland were going really well, France were going really well, and they didn't go through. Like, so I think it's indicative of just where the world rugby or the game is at the moment.
I did like the World Cup here, though, the way supporters sing and chant. That's one thing. You're talking about the players feeling that pressure and playing in Australia and in our World Cup. We need to get more vocal, I think, or sing, or just create more of an environment, because even as recent as 3-4 weeks ago, where Australia played Argentina, all you could hear was this small pocket of Argentinian fans, but we're playing in Australia.
Oh, wow.
But it felt, like I just
we're just not a real vocal kind of support base. Yeah, so we don't have chants, we don't have songs.
Yeah, we need to come up with a chant or something.
I mean, you guys now have a platform. You have a podcast. You could just become, create a song, make it go viral. You could change that.
I mean, because it's funny, right? Because songs also, when you asked before about your favorite memory, like it's weird as well. Like, you remember that song, Freed from Desire?
Of course.
Like, as soon as I hear that, it takes me to the World Cup 23 here in France.
That's a Premier League thing as well.
I mean, it was just like, I don't know, during that period, everywhere, like the parties afterwards, like that song was just on all the time. So like, whenever I hear that now, like it just takes me straight back to
Mine's Stromae. Formidable.
Formidable.
Yeah, that's the one that I would hear all the time with
on the radio.
Yeah.
How do you guys get into crypto though?
I think we're just curious, right? Like I think there's a lot probably around that around COVID kind of period. There was a fair bit of chat around crypto and NFT and all this sort of stuff, and NFTs I had no idea, right? Like it's so it's kind of one of those ones where you sort of start to learn about it, and there was always types of things being said about the crypto world and the NFTs and what they were, but I don't know. To me, I sort of started to speak to someone who was like a bit of an expert in the field, and And at that point, I felt like I was just collecting puzzle pieces, and I haven't been able to quite put the puzzle together. Because there is like so many different sort of ways and elements and opinions out there as well. Like, who do you actually trust? Because it's your money that you're investing in. Right. But like anything, whether it's the property market or stocks or whatever, I think it's probably started out more of a curiosity. Mm-hmm. And understanding it, and then because also when people are talking about crypto, they're talking about stupid money, and people have got very rich off it because they backed it early. But I probably had some advice back in those days. I get on this Bitcoin. I'm like, Bitcoin,
right.
What's Bitcoin?
We all did. We've all been there.
Yeah,
that's normal. It's kind of part of it.
But yeah, and so then and once you put a bit of money in there and you kind of start to learn a bit more about it. A lot of it's probably
watch it go up or down.
Yeah, a lot of it's trial and error, right? Like because it's not a space that we're experts in by any means, but it's I think I'm intrigued by it. Like it's one that you've got to do your homework. I think like you've got to but then also with the internet these days, like. What homework?
You need to know
what research
how to do your homework.
Yeah, exactly. That's
if you're going to go on YouTube and you're going to be like, "Oh, which coin should I buy?" Well, trust me, you're not going to land somewhere where it's going to be good for
AI and everything else now.
Yeah,
information.
Sure. AI is making it maybe even easier because like it kind of parses through all of the information, maybe tries to give you like some sort of a measured or neutral analysis. I think it's helpful rather than like I remember back in the day, like when me and my mates started getting into crypto, which was like maybe 2018, 2019. A lot of us were complete newbies, and we'd go on YouTube and be like, okay, which coin should we buy?
Yeah,
and then you'd find these these guys on the thumbnails and like. With the image and like the kind of a green candle and be like, you buy this in 3 months, it's going to be worth that. That's obviously, a lot of people tend to follow that. And then that kind of paints a very negative picture of what the crypto space is all about. But you if you think about it like any technological cycle, like you always have a boom and a bust. And then during the boom, there are a lot of like snake oil salesmen that try and sell you something that isn't true. But the reality is that the core of it, like what this technology enables is super important. What we believe in and what I personally believe in for society, like enabling. I grew up in Egypt, so I'm kind of grew up in the Middle East, and remember quite well when the financial system was kind of restricting everyone's freedom from being able to transact, or there's always a revolution in Egypt, so you couldn't withdraw your money, you couldn't send your money abroad.
Yeah, wow.
Even if you had an account in foreign currencies, you wouldn't be able to send it abroad. And then there's the thing when I first learned about Bitcoin, I was like, that makes sense, like a digital currency that is scarce. That no one can control, and that you can send across borders in a second with very limited fees compared to the amount that you might be sending. Yeah. That was a light bulb moment. What was your light bulb moment? Was it more like, someone was telling you about an investment and they made a little bit of money, or was it something else that you kind of were like, okay, that's interesting?
Well, now, listening to you speak, I'm honestly like very, very fresh. Into this space. Like I just can't, until recently, obviously getting involved with Ledger and learning more about it and doing my own research. Beforehand, I couldn't really get my head around how you put money into something, but what is that? Like, it's not actually something, whereas a stock, in the stock market, you're betting on companies that
that have a track record.
Well, they have a track record, and the longevity, their product is good, or you've got cash, or even you're talking about investing in a house. You put the money in, you can see that house. So to me, putting money into crypto, I can't see it. I don't really understand it. So I'm now starting to develop more of an understanding actually what it is. And how you can make money effectively off it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's like, you hear the stories of people who got on the Bitcoin early, and, of course there's that. But I think sort of, in terms of where it started to where it is now, like it's unbelievable.
It's wild.
Yeah, and, part of that's that fear of missing out. Like if you're not in it.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, you got to get in it with the, having done the research and all that, and hopefully our few days here with Ledger and all the affiliates that we maybe get steered into a certain direction, a positive one. No, but I mean, it's like it's an exciting space. I think that's like you say, there's the banking world is probably a little bit too regulated in terms of something that is yours. Right. They've still got a lot of control on it.
It's wild when you think about it.
It is, yeah.
It is wild.
And, like in some ways, crypto is
private property.
Yeah.
You're not really allowed to own things. Like in the physical world, when you think about it, like take even the example of very simple things. Like back in the day, my mother would make me photo albums, right? They're mine. She'd take the pictures, paint them, put them there, and I kept them, Today, if you think about it, your photos, where are they?
Yeah, it's all in your phone.
They're in the phone, but where? In the cloud. Who owns the cloud? The company that's selling you your cloud subscription.
Yeah.
Like in a day, look, obviously that doesn't happen frequently, but let's say one of these servers shut down, or you do something that you're not allowed to do in some sort of an authoritarian future. Your memories could be stripped away from your music.
Yeah.
I used to buy a lot of vinyls. Music now is on my streaming platform.
Yeah.
It's owned by a company.
Yeah.
I think about almost every single thing that you own in your digital existence is owned by a company.
Yeah.
And that's what's the beauty of blockchain, is that it flips that upside down.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now it's not owned by a single entity. There's a network that provides you with the ability to be able to own something digitally, and you can own it via your wallet. So whether it be your art, your credentials, your identity, your money, then it's kind of that decentralization of value. What you guys are doing with your podcast is the decentralization of information. Like before that, you were telling me that you were doing like TV, sports. It was owned by a company. Now the podcast is owned by you guys. Like no one's going to tell you, oh, Drew, last week you spoke about a topic that I didn't like this much. Please, avoid talking about that player in this or that way. It's completely yours. And that's kind of the same thing that's happening in the space. It's wild. And for some people, it is a luxury. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, it's like an additional investment vehicle that I'm going to invest in to make additional, money. For other people, it's a life raft. It's a something that can enable them to get out of very dire situations. If you think about, Latin America, for instance, and economies where you have very high inflation, or if you think about, other countries that might be, a little bit more limiting when it comes to personal freedoms or private property. So yeah, that's what personally was like, okay, like that's like kind of the new frontier of where the technology is headed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's exciting. Like, and I think it's one, we're over here and we're in the right spot to learn more about it. Right? I'm interested in a couple of the keynotes this afternoon, and and just being able to sort of mingle and talk to a lot of the people that are involved, not just with Ledger, but also the affiliates as well.
Of course. Have you guys done a transaction before, like a crypto transaction?
Yeah. I mean,
what was your first transaction? Do you remember that? I mean, you obviously remember your first transaction.
I mean, I don't know if my first one. I remember like Adam, the other one on our podcast. He was like, when you guys were over in LA, he'd be like, mate, put all your money on this, whatever it was.
You always have that.
I think it was like maybe Quant or something.
Yeah,
I want to say Quant. Anyway, he's just like, mate. And then I'd just watch it go down. He goes, no, mate, play long game. I'm like, how long is this long game?
Like, what game's out?
Yeah. But that's the same thing as well, right? Like, if someone comes to you with enthusiasm and you've already trusted them, like, like Adam, like he's a mate of mine, right? Like, why would I not trust him? And he's coming at me with all this positivity and sounds like he's done his homework. All right, I'm all in. Yeah. And then you know that maybe you don't.
Don't like, listen to him.
If I'm ill, I don't go to Adam because he's not a doctor. So why am I going to him for crypto advice?
And then people get married to their bags. Like if I'm buying something, I want my friends to buy it as well. Not because I want them to buy something that's probably not good for them. I'm not trying to sell them, but I'm excited. I bought it myself. Yeah. So why wouldn't I want? Yeah, let's share it. Yeah. And let's see it go up or down together. Yeah. It's kind of it's a fun thing if you're doing it with small amounts. Obviously, you shouldn't bet too big on these things. Have you tried our devices? Have you done any transactions with them?
We're getting ours, the new one set up right now, actually. Yeah. I think maybe after this, actually, just to set it all up. And
nice.
Then we're good to go.
Yeah. Perfect.
I had the stacks. Well, I've obviously got the stacks. But I downloaded it, updated it. Then I just don't know how to use it. So that's I'm about to have a crash course. And
listen, my first job at Ledger was like kind of dealing with our education content. So we built out this platform called Ledger Academy. It was a fun journey actually. When we started, it was a small website with a few tutorials. We had like maybe 80 or 100,000 users. Now we have this platform that has 2.4 million yearly users, completely free.
Wow.
Which is great.
Well done.
So you guys can check it out.
Yeah.
You can go. We have plenty of videos, but
join the academy.
you can also hit me up anytime, and I'll be more than happy to walk you through it.
No, that'd be great.
Even the guy I was playing basketball with yesterday, his Twitter account is purely just on crypto.
Education
On that. And he said, go have a look at that. And
so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, education it empowers people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think we were talking about like how much of a responsibility it is, like sometimes to like make decisions and deal with your own, assets and money. But that Spider-Man sentence, with big freedom comes big responsibility.
Yeah.
But that's exactly it. You have a lot of freedom, but you kind of, have the responsibility to also make sure that you don't mess it up.
Yeah.
When you think about like future generations, and there are a lot of values in rugby that I maybe like see in crypto as well, like kind of resilience and like being able to I don't know if that's something that's also said within the rugby. Like when I'm a big fan of football, not American football, the real football. You said they say football is a gentleman's game played by thugs, and rugby is a thugs game played by gentlemen. And I think you have a lot of these values of like you stand up for something and you stand up for these values. And when you think about like the future and where technology is headed and what kind of values do you hope like the younger generations they kind of are able to take with them into the future?
I think the most important value is respect.
Yeah.
Right? Like respect for yourself, respect for others, respect for the environment, respect for like going across the board. Because if you don't respect something or yourself or someone, then that's bringing negative into your life. I think it's if that's one value that we can all have and that we see and we pass on from generation to generation, and then the next generation respects the one before them, all that sort of stuff, then I think, and respects maybe the path they've walked, and doesn't mean that say they have to walk the same path, but you learn from what's happened before and you respect that. So I think in terms of values, I think respect is the utmost in anything in life. You've got to have that respect.
Absolutely.
But then, I guess with rugby as well, like to your point, like resilience is a thing. Like
resilience is so important, actually.
Yeah, I think in some ways we're kind of like, I don't know if it's like that here in France, but like now they don't want to award like first, second and third at a sports carnival at school. They just want to give everyone participation because the kids that don't come first, second or third feel upset because those kids are getting them. Like,
but the kids know.
It's very American thing.
Kids know if you're first, second or third.
But also like how are you building that kid up to learn how to, to
be resilient.
To be resilient and have failures in life, because we're all going to fail. Like, life is tough.
And failure is good.
Yeah, failure is where you learn.
It's great.
Yeah,
you learn. You can feel that pain.
Yeah.
If you don't feel that pain, how do you learn?
But if we're taking those opportunities of failures from the kids, and they're not going to be a resilient bunch like when they're older, and they're going to complain about everything because they don't get the same as what everyone else gets. No, you got to work for something. Like you work hard for something and you get the...
Don't be a snowflake. Just keep your head down.
Yeah.
And also there's a massive sense of entitlement too. If you don't build that resilience, you come into a new environment, whether it's work or sport, you want what the top dog has. But no, that guy had to work hard to get to that point. Everyone has to have a starting point. And through resilience, hard work, dedication, accountability, I think being accountable and someone that you can rely on, like accountability is massive in our sport.
You got to watch someone else's back. You be accountable for
the meetings at 8:15.
Yeah.
You have to be there at 8:15. Yeah. The game plan to play this weekend, your role in your position is this. I'm trusting you that you're going to perform your role, and you've got to be accountable to do that. You do your bit, I do my bit. The team wins. We all win through that. So, I think that resilience, by not allowing the kids to build that resilience, off the back of that, there's so much entitlement. Like where kids want, it's almost like the now generation. They want it now. What a 50-year-old has worked or 60-year-old has worked all their life to have this nice car and a house. Kids want it at 20. It's not.
That's social media. They see the tip of the iceberg and they're like, "Oh, I want that." But have you seen the iceberg?
It's reflective, right? Like they want those things in life now, because also like the way we consume now is like that, right? Like you swipe across because all your apps or you know, like the YouTube shorts or, you know, like everything they're consuming is they get everything they want right now. Like, I mean, when I say they, we all have that capacity to get it, right? So it's, in some ways it's now shaping what their expectations are in anything in life. Like, if I want something, I want it now. And no, like you've got to do the work. You've got to earn it.
Yeah, I guess, well, you know, that's the kind of perfect way to wrap it up. I'd love for the folks that are listening to us where they can, you know, just keep following what you guys do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we got our socials, Drew_Mitchell. What's yours? Matt_Giteau?
I don't know.
We will put it in the show notes.
But it was more, I think, more for...
But yeah, like
and the podcast is...
The podcast is Kickoffs and Kick-Ons.
On YouTube?
On YouTube, yeah. Subscribe on that one. Otherwise, Spotify, iTunes, all that sort of stuff.
And, you know, Ledger channels. We have a lot of content that's coming up with you guys. I saw some of the content that Elliot showed me the other day with you guys in Australia. It was so fun.
Shot down there in Sydney. Yeah,
cool.
that was a cool day.
Super cool.
I'm sure we'll get plenty of content over the next couple of days here as well. And,
all right.
But yeah, just don't put up any of my basketball.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want the basketball.
I didn't see you play yesterday, so I'll need to look at that footage as well.
Just don't have much of a shot, but I'm working on it. Bruce told me, just keep shooting, shoot is shoot. So
I mean, you definitely have someone to coach you now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks, guys.
No,
you guys are true gentlemen. That was a pleasure.
Awesome.